Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP Live with my best friend, Matt Perrault, and we're hanging out here talking about, there's something going on Sunday. I can't remember what it is. I don't remember. Oh, wait, there's a Super Bowl. That's right, the Super Bowl there. Matt Perrault, I don't know if you're sick about talking about it yet, but you can't be, because we've got another couple days still ahead of us and lots of wagers to invest in. And speaking of investing, make sure you invest your energies here by subscribing to the YouTube channel. And of course, your podcast, wherever you get your podcast, subscribe to Betting Pros, ring the bell till it goes ding. And don't forget, we're giving away free stuff. The signed Dak Prescott Cowboys helmet. The winner for that bad boy is Dale. That's right. One name like Madonna or Cher. It's just Dale. And Dale, congratulations. We'll be contacting you to get in touch with you about getting you that Dak Prescott helmet. So congratulations, Dale. And when one giveaway goes away, another one takes its place. Next giveaway up. That's what we do here at Betting Pros. And if you want a chance to score the signed Nick Chubb Browns helmet for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest. Complete the form. Download the Betting Pros app. Leave a review of the Betting Pros podcast or subscribe to our social media channels at Betting Pros on X and TikTok and Betting Pros NFL on the IG. The more actions you complete, the more entries you'll receive, and we'll be announcing the winner right here on the channel. So make sure you turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and you can claim your prize of the Nick Chubb signed helmet. All right, Matt Perrault, how are you handling Super Bowl fatigue? Because it always gets to me somewhere around like Wednesday, Thursday, and then Sunday I have like 3 hours of Super Bowl coverage where I get tired of talking about the same game personally. How do you fight it? What's your best advice for me?
Good to see you. So it's Tuesday. The last 3 years I've been there. This is my first time in 3 years not going to the Super Bowl, and I have absolutely no FOMO at all. Like,
Ooh,
I love New Orleans. It's an awesome city. It's not great for major events like this. It gets very congested. It gets very difficult to get around that city. The security's really high. I've been told it's really hard to move around in certain areas. So I'm not really sick of talking about the game yet, but I'm also not going to be nearly as busy as I have been in other years. So I don't know, maybe I'll get there on Friday and I'll be burned out. But right now I'm not really burned out of it because I don't find the game all that compelling. So like, this is
expand. This is a repeat. Yeah, 2 years ago.
We've seen it. I mean, people in the betting space. I mean, this is just another game. I mean, it's the Super Bowl. Okay, I get it. It's a championship going to be crowned, but I'm just as interested in Drake and Murray State tonight as I am watching Kansas City play Philadelphia. Like, there's no extra buzz for this game for me. There's no extra like, wow, this is incredible. Like, sure, there's more prop bets available for this game. There's more unique bets and plays you can make for this game, but this game doesn't have, because it's the Chiefs and the Eagles, and we saw it, the numbers are so similar to what they were just 2 years ago. The prop bets are all set at a very similar number that they were 2 years ago. The total is set at a similar number than it was a couple of years ago. So it's a rinse and repeat game for me. Again, it's a Super Bowl. It's, and we're going to have Kendrick Lamar performing at halftime, and we've got, 8 hours of pregame and 5 hours of postgame. So there's extra stuff to go into it. But it's just not like, I don't feel like this is a game where everyone's like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch this. Other than Saquon Barkley, we've seen this game before.
Well, let's talk about that. The impact he's going to make here, because that is possibly the difference maker. 4 times previously, coaches have matched up again in the Super Bowl, and every time the one that won the first time won the second time. I don't know if it's a mental aspect of it. I don't know if it's just a matter of like sometimes the better team's just the better team, no matter how you slice it. But the big difference here is you've had a playmaker added in Saquon Barkley. So what does it tell you that if you're saying a copy and pasted from 2 years ago, that the presence of Saquon Barkley, is it as important as maybe some people are making it out to be, or is it not?
Oh, I think it's massive. I mean, I think Barkley, he's the MVP if they win. Like,
that's what I've been saying. I'm so glad to hear you say the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, if Barkley motivates, if he runs for over 100 yards and everyone's saying, well, the Chiefs don't give up 100 yards. Okay, sure. This guy's having a run that we haven't seen before. Saquon Barkley is healthy in the postseason. Saquon Barkley has an offensive line, and the Chiefs' defensive line has been leaky against the run over the last couple of months. So I look, Spags is a phenomenal Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, and I assume he's going to have some type of fix to stop the stretch run play. for Saquon Barkley, but this guy can really make it difficult on defenses, and then the play action becomes a gigantic weapon for this Eagles team if Barkley gets going. So I think I'm with you. If Saquon goes for 100 yards, Saquon Barkley is going to be the MVP. The problem that, and let me ask you this: why don't the books take coin flip bets every game? Like, why can't we bet the coin flip every game?
Maybe there's not a big enough appetite for it.
I bet there would be. Like, there are certain bets that are in the Super Bowl that I can't figure out why the books wouldn't do. Like, the national anthem is obviously
that is a good question. I've never thought about it.
The anthem is put on TV, right? So the anthem is different because we actually watch it broadcasted on the. We don't see it normally being like on a normal Sunday. We're not seeing every national anthem be performed. Sometimes, but not always. So I get why you can't do the anthem. But we always, I mean, the coin flip's always there. Like, well, why can't we just go ahead and bet the coin flip? Like, why can't we bet the shortest touchdown being under 1.5 yards, which is my automatic play every Super Bowl? I always bet under 1.5 yards for the shortest Super Bowl. I'm doing it again this year. I do it every year. Why can't I do that every Sunday? I would just blind that. I would just bet that every game, just across the board. I would just bet it blindly. I'd parlay it. Like, I do a variety of things with it. So the handle is bigger. The handle is bigger, right? But the casual interest in this game is what I'm getting at. Like, we have just a lot of casual people that come in and bet this thing, and the numbers are all out of whack for that reason, because it's all just someone comes in and bets $2,000 on a prop bet that they never would bet otherwise, and that skews the market.
It's just funny. I've never even given it a thought as to why some of those things don't exist. But look at you. You're such a trailblazer in this space. I'm
just saying, I'm just as I'm going through the game.
It's smart. It's logic. Why I don't have an answer for it.
The Westgate in Vegas here in town has a packet that, I'm not kidding you, is this thick. I mean, it is literally that thick with all cross-sport prop bets and all sorts of things. So and they let it go on Saturday or Sunday. That they let it go, and you can only bet. It's $1,000 limit. You can only bet 2. You bet 2, they move the number, and they send you bet to the back of the line. And there's like 30 or 40 people in line that go and bet 2, go to the back of the line, go up, bet it again, go back of the line. It's actually hysterical to watch and how it all goes down, because there's prop bets that are available for this game that are only available for this game. And I'm like, wouldn't it be fun if it was always doing that? Like, it's just weird to me that like the shortest touchdown, or again, the coin flip. Like, there's just different prop bets I think that should be available always.
Well, the books might make money ones. I think I have the answer. So like the coin flip, like things like that. I think
people would bet it. I think they'd bet it.
I agree. Of course
there's juice on both sides of the coin flip. It's so stupid.
There's so much time for them to prepare for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
On the most minuscule, ridiculous things and give some sort of odd that makes sense for them.
Yeah.
I just don't think they have the bandwidth with all the injuries and all the things that are going on there every single Sunday to do that for us. So that's probably why you don't have the same amount or the same options that you have, these myriad of options you get with the Super Bowl. You don't get anything else. But the coin flip, you don't have to do anything on that one, and you could just play it right off the bat here. I want to talk about the rushing, because you talked about Saquon Barkley's rushing.
Yeah.
I have him going over in this total, and I don't think if he goes over necessarily that it means it's a lock that Philly wins. I think you're right. He's just in a special time. I think it's the long run for Saquon Barkley you have to worry about in this game. If he has, he right out of the gate with the Commanders, right? They hit him with that. And that was the one thing I said, look, the Commanders can stay here. It's when you start getting those big, long runs from Saquon where it just takes the air out of the defense, and it just makes things really hard, right? Those big explosive plays. It's also the rushing for Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts specifically that I'm really in on this game too. I don't like either passing number. I find them to be extremely tight, right on, spot on to where I would be setting them. But I keep looking at the rushing number, and I feel like these are two guys who are historically going to take the ball in their own hands and make plays. Plus, you're talking about Spagnuolo's defense, which is very aggressive, right? Flushing Jalen Hurts probably in a lot of spots. You get the pressure from Jalen Carter coming up the middle, and the good cornerback play that the Eagles have now, locking down some of these subpar wide receivers at times. Mahomes, I think, might have no choice but to get out of the pocket and make some more plays, which, again, you started to see him do last week in that spot too. Where are you at with the rushing of the quarterbacks? Because I am very much in there, but not so much on the passing for either.
I would agree with you, although I do have Mahomes to throw a pick. I do think he's getting picked off.
He's thrown, 5 in so far? It was 8-5, I think, the touchdown interception ratio, right? In his Super Bowl career.
I think he throws a pick in this game. I think Jalen Hurts, I would look at his rushing more than Mahomes is rushing, just because I think the speed for that Eagles defense, I'm not sure you want to risk Mahomes getting hurt in the Super Bowl. I don't think he rushes for a touchdown the same way that he did in the AFC Championship game. But Hurts anytime touchdown, I think, is a play you have to make. I mean, again, I like the shortest touchdown to be under 1.5 yards.
Right.
From the one, we know what they're doing. Like, they're going to tush push. He didn't want to say the words tush push last night at the opening night, and he instead said, I call it the quarterback sneak. You guys call it a tush push, because the reporter said, would you rather be the tush or the push in this when you're in there? He was like,
I'm going to let the chat decide that.
Yeah,
Everybody
right.
listening in the chat, you guys. But I mean, we're Pats fans, right? We saw Tom Brady get this all the time. I bet Bill Belichick, if you could go back in time and go, man, I should have done this more, because Brady was one of the most successful quarterbacks ever doing that.
Yep.
And a lot of it stems from offensive line play and what you're getting. Right.
The push and the pull, though, that like, I still think it's an illegal play. And I still think that the line, the formation is borderline illegal. And I do think the idea of pushing and pulling somebody forward, as long as they're going forward, you can push or pull. I think that needs to be, that's got to stop. I mean, it's rugby. It's not football. But until they change it, just keep on using it and doing it. And the Eagles are the best at it. And with or without Kelsey at center, they're still the best at it. So I think Hurts anytime touchdown. And then you could, I mean, I think they'll eventually do some trick plays off of it. I think they're going to do either a toss sweep or some type of fake on it to really screw up the Chiefs. And they've held the play all the way to today to the Super Bowl. But I do think Jalen Hurts scores in this game.
Yeah, I do too. Usually you're seeing that around like minus 115. I've seen that basically kind of in the markets there. I kind of like Mahomes to score too, to be honest with you. Because once again, the corner's really good pressure up the middle there. To me, that's flushing Mahomes out of the pocket. And we've already seen, like, he's not afraid to go make those plays and keep the ball in his hands. We just saw it last week, in the past, a million times. And somehow I feel like annually it's disregarded in these big spots. And I don't get why. I think it's 4-1, right? If memory serves, plus 400 on the Mahomes.
It's just because the speed of an indoor, I think the reason why he's such a long shot is because, one, they don't want a QB sneak with him because he got hurt before doing a QB sneak. That was the one time Mahomes got seriously injured, was during his QB sneak times. So they don't sneak with him ever. And
that's not the one I'm looking for, though. I'm not looking for the sneak. I'm looking for him getting out space.
The turf, it's a fast track. So you're going to have linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks flying around in this game. And do you want Mahomes to take a hit like that if he's in the open field? So that, I think, is why it's a little bit on the longer side. He made perfect clear, and he ran for that 18 yards for that touchdown run against the Bills. So, I mean, he's already shown that he's willing to go ahead, tuck it and go. I just wonder if there's going to be a spy, if the Eagles will just say, you know what, we're not going to let Mahomes get first downs on third downs, because he is so deadly picking up first down.
Well, last year was on the turf too, and he did it to the 49ers. So it's not impossible. I want to talk to you about the turf too, because that total has gone up from the 47.5 range up to 48.5, now 49 in some other markets. Before we do, if you're already missing free fantasy football, good news. You have another chance to play completely free fantasy football for the Super Bowl, and you can win fabulous cash and prizes with our special new Fantasy Pros promo offer right now with SmashUp Sports. FP SmashUp. That's the promo code. That's FP SmashUp. New users can get $5 paid out just for playing any of the free games. With SmashUp Sports, you can join nearly 10,000 other users to play weekly free tournaments that have cash prizes, and it's fun and easy to play. You set your fantasy football lineup just like you would in a lot of your DFS sites, but then you get to choose a salary cap and add smash cards that can boost certain stats for your players based on the smash cards you choose. You think Saquon's going to run all over the Chiefs? Well, he'll play the unstoppable freight train, aka Matt Perrault card, to get 30 extra points if he has a run of 40 more yards, or Pat Mahomes locks into Travis Kelce and then play the tunnel vision of love to get 3 points for every single Travis Kelce target. And do you know that Jake Elliott will botch another kick? Well, play the double doink and get 10 points for every missed field goal or extra point. SmashUp Sports has weekly cash contests and is 100% free with no entry fees to pay or win in the mechanics. So as a special bonus for that first time of our favorite Fantasy Pros super fans, you guys have a chance right now to register online with the promo code FP SmashUp and set a free lineup for the Super Bowl. Not only can you win cash, but SmashUp will give you $5 in cash just for showing up and playing. The link right now is in the description, so sign up for Smash Sports today using that promo code FP SmashUp. All right, let's get to that total here because I want to talk about that. 48.5, 49, that's where we're pushing there. Do you think the turf, do you think with the athleticism of the Barkleys and Mahomes and the playmaking ability here, and look, to a certain extent, Jalen Hurts too, who just finds a way to win games. Are you going to the over, or now that it's climbed up, you're getting a little concerned?
I'd go as high as 52. I'd let it go. I think this is going to be, again, this is why I'm not that interested in the game. 38-35 was the final score. I'm not sure we get 70-plus points in this matchup, but indoors, on the turf, we know what Saquon can do. We know what the Chiefs are capable of doing. We know what Xavier Worthy, can do. We know that they got Hollywood Brown. I think both teams score. I think the over is the best play in the game. I think over 48.5 is the best play in the game.
I agree. I like it too. What is your score, by the way? Do you have the exact score? Like, what's your exact score prediction?
I'm just so biased. I hate the Chiefs. I have such a raging passion that started way before Mahomes ever came around. My hatred of Casey started with the Royals and their 1-year wonder and the cockiness of their fans and the nonsense because Chief fans.
We're talking about like that 2015 Kansas City Royals?
Yeah, because
Hosmer really irritated you. That's what
they got good for a year. I worked in Kansas City, so like I did 2 years of radio in Kansas City, and like even back then, there's an arrogance in that part of the country that comes from Kansas basketball that like translated they were never really great in professional sports, and there was like this like simmering underbelly bubbling up that like once they got a little bit good in sports, it became like oppressively annoying, and it was the Royals first, and now it's about the Chiefs, and it's like I'm from Boston, so I get it. It's like calling a kettle black.
I was gonna say you should understand the hatred for a dynasty and legacy more than anybody.
There's 4 sports in New England that are good. And there's 4 sports that have been dominant. And I've seen 4 championships in the last 25 years for the Red Sox. And I've seen 2 Celtics championships, since 2005. I've seen, 20 years, 2 Celtics championships. I've seen a Bruins championship, and I've seen six Super Bowls for the Patriots. Like, there's a reason why people from New England get really cocky. There's a reason why my brothers who are 29 and 31 don't know losing. All they know is winning because it was 20 years of dominance across all 4 sports. So like, that's where it starts coming. So then Mahomes came around, then Andy Reid came, and then now here comes the three-peat. So like, I think I'm betting the Chiefs simply because I am either going to love the Eagles winning or I'm going to make money. So like, either I deal with history and deal with three-peat and deal with the dynasty and deal with Mahomes and just say, fine, I'll make money, or the Eagles win and I'm really happy and I'm completely cool with donating to the sports books for that. So I'm probably going to be on Kansas City here on either the money line, depending how low the number gets. I think it may keep coming down until we get closer to game time. And then I do think we're going to see Chief money show up late. I think Eagle money early, Chief money late is what I think is going to happen. And so I think if you like Kansas City, I think you should take it probably now because we may get to 1.5, but I think the closing number is going to be closer to 2 or 2.5 once the game kicks. And I would love the Eagles to win. If I had to go ahead and name a score, like 27-24, somewhere in that range. I don't think we fly over
26-24. That's what I was at 24-20 with a minute 40 left, and Patrick Mahomes does it again. That's where I was at.
Possibly a field goal comes through. The only way, if the Eagles are going to win this game, the Eagles have to win this game the same way the Bills won the game earlier this year. You have to kill them. You have to win by double digits. You can't just expect a referee
it's hard
call.
To kill them though, Matt. They don't have a lot of. They have so much fight in them. And the thing that really irritates me, going back to what we saw last out of the Bills, I knew they were going to bring a corner blitz. So how the hell did I know? I mean, you saw it in the Super Bowl even last year. Look, maybe we've seen it a little bit too because as Patriot fans, we remember all the different blitz schemes that they were bringing against Tom Brady and the pressure they put. And anytime you get in a 3rd and long, Spagnuolo is going to push you to oblivion. So if you're the Buffalo Bills, how are you not prepared for that? And it felt like they were not prepared for it. Like, credit to Josh Allen getting that ball out, almost making a heroic, incredible play there with Kincaid. It fell short. Okay. But the fact that it seemed like there was a surprise to them when you just saw it in the Super Bowl last year in the same situation, it's stunning to me. And I feel like that's the other thing too. I keep going back to the same thing, which is you're right. You have to kill the Chiefs. They're very tough to kill. They don't have losing in their DNA. I feel like they just don't. They always believe they're going to win. There's something about that mindset that is really tough to handle. I'm with you. I'm on the Chiefs too. I'm just betting them straight up on the money line and wherever I can, just putting Mahomes. Look, last year I made a ton of money by cashing out all of my 49ers to win the Super Bowl because I made a lot of money on them to win the NFC and then to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. I took that out. I reinvested it in the Chiefs on the money line with Patrick Mahomes to win the Super Bowl MVP. And guess what? It was a pretty good return. To me, I'm just still in that same mindset. Like, as great as Saquon Barkley is, as good as this defense is, and maybe they're younger and they're hungry and it's a little bit different of a team. Do you put that in the aspect too, that for everyone keeps talking about it's a rematch, but it's a very different Eagles defense, especially than the one they faced 2 years ago. They were very much about pressure on the quarterback, getting sacks, getting all that stuff. This is more about, you have these young kids from Georgia, you have these young cornerbacks now, and Mitchell and DeJean. Do you think this is dangerous to copy and paste?
A little. I mean, I get your point. I've loved Cooper DeJean since his days at Iowa, and I've watched him for a long time, and he's a tremendous talent. Steal in the draft by Howie Roseman to get him. And Mitchell's been great. Blankenship's been great. I mean, they've got corners. Soleil is tremendous. I mean, they've got guys who are going to smack you, are going to make it more difficult. And Carter obviously is a huge weapon for them getting after Patrick Mahomes. They got to beat up Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's what I mean by kill, because they have to just go and be more physical than the Chiefs. Chiefs offensive line has been leaky. They've given up sacks. They've moved guys around. They've played guards at left tackle this season. They've had to make some adjustments. So I think if you really try to get off the edge and get pressure on Mahomes and don't rush the passer recklessly, stay in your lane, be lane disciplined, and don't let him get out to the outside to pick up first downs with his legs, they're going to have a hard time moving the ball on the Chiefs. Like that's why people think the under is the play, because KC's not going to score. I think Kansas City's defense in the first half may have a difficult time. And if I'm the Eagles, I'm taking shots down the field, because the crew that's working this Super Bowl is offensive and defensive holding happy. They don't call DPIs and OPIs, but they call defensive holding and offensive holding a ton. So I'm going to make this team or this group of referees call holding, offensive holding on the Chiefs offensive line. The thing that the Eagle fan cried about forever, that the Chiefs 2 years ago were one of the worst offending holding offensive lines in football, and not a single holding call was made in the playoffs against the Chiefs. It's a stat I keep on saying. 11-0-1. That is the number of the last 12 playoff games where the opponent of the Chiefs has been flagged for more yards in penalties than Kansas City. Make these guys throw the flag. If that happens early, we could see a whole different type of game. And I believe this is true. I think in every Super Bowl, or the last 4 Super Bowls for Patrick Mahomes, he's been trailing at the break at halftime. So Eagles in the first half, and then second half come back in with the Chiefs and the under, most likely.
I want to ask you more about that, the in-game aspect, because I'm with you on this. Let's go to Tucker's question here in the chat. Matt loves to tease. So what's your take on the tease for this game here, Perrault?
The problem is okay, so my issue with this is if you tease up I would only tease up the Eagles. So tease them 7.5. So you're crossing 7, crossing 3. So you get 2 key numbers there. I would pull it down and go over. That's easy. That's an automatic. So go 48.5 and pull it down to 42.5 and go over. I think you're good there. The question would be the side. And does the side beat you? Because can the Eagles lose this game by 10? Absolutely. Can they lose by 8? Absolutely. So I don't love this. Is priced perfectly for teaser protection. Under 8. It's perfectly teased, perfectly. That's why it's 1.5, because at 2.5, I get over 8 and I'm plus 8.5. And I love Philadelphia at plus 8.5. 7.5 scares me. So I don't know. I'm not there yet.
At halftime, if the Chiefs are down 3, what's the line in the second half?
Waterfall on Kansas City. Like, just it's a boatload of money coming in on Kansas City if they're down.
Right, but what's the number? What's the line then? What do you think they set it at there for that second half?
Pick. I mean,
oh, you do. You could still pick.
Maybe -1, -2 for Kansas City.
What if it's Philly up by 6? What if they're up by a touchdown?
Oh, Philly. I mean, it's Kansas City -3, -4, -5. I mean,
you jump on that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
if I do too.
I mean, I would just take money line for the game. I wouldn't even bet the second half. I would just bet the game money line. Take Kansas City, and you're
right.
gonna
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're gonna get a big plus price out of that. You're gonna get plus 2, plus 3, so 3-1, 4-1 type of numbers. So
yeah, and Tucker, we're both in the over for the QB rushing yards too. We talked about that at the top of the show, and if you want to go back,
I'm not. I like Hurts. I'm not in. You like Mahomes, and I'm a little skeptical on Mahomes rushing, but I do.
But again, I keep coming back to the same thing. You have subpar wide receivers for the most part. You have Worthy, who's
Chief fans are going to push back on that when you keep on saying that, though. I don't think you're
wrong.
But Chief fans are going to
Schuster and this version of DeAndre Hopkins is not special. Now Hollywood Brown, we'll see what he does. But again, I would never call him. Worthy is playmaker. Now, of all of them, again, Worthy's over on yardage is intriguing to me because he can do it in one play. Like he is that kind of a special talent. So you give yourself more outs there. But the rest of them, the danger here is they're all very low numbers. But guess what? They're low numbers for a reason because they're not great. Okay. So that is my concern is when you're putting wide receivers that are not guys who win, right? They're not, none of these guys are guys like this is not Jamar Chase. This is not Justin Jefferson. This isn't even Puka Nacua. It's none of those guys. It's none of those kind of dudes out there. Then you turn and flip it around, Matt, and you're getting really good corner play and you're getting pressure at the line with guys. I mean, Jalen Carter is a monstrous person like that. I just see Mahomes having to make these big moments, these big plays. And you're going to do that, and it's going to be 3rd and long, and the Eagles are going to be hyped up, and then Mahomes runs for 15 yards, and it's a first down, and that's the air going out of the balloon that scares me the most with a young Eagles team, because it's my opinion the AFC was the better conference this year. The NFC had a couple top-heavy teams. They didn't get to play the Lions, right? We didn't get to see that. The Lions took their, started spilling their own farts a little bit and thought they were hot crap, and next thing you know, they ain't there anymore. They ended up beating a Washington team that they beat already and it was in their division, so it was going to be a different sort of situation anyway. And a Packers team that was a joke. The Chiefs ain't a joke, and I think getting punched in the mouth here is going to be fascinating because the Eagles haven't lost in a long time, or even gotten punched in the mouth in a long time. Matt, that's my concern with this Eagles team. Like, when's the last time they really got punched in the mouth? And I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts getting hurt in that game. Okay. I'm not talking about that. That's different. Jalen Hurts gets hurt. That dynamic of any game.
It's adversity, though. I mean, you lose your quarterback. That's a significant.
It is deal. Adversity, but I'm saying is, and it didn't go well, did it?
Right. No, he gets. I mean, Hurts gets hurt.
Hurts gets hurt. This game is finito.
Yeah. See you later.
But I'm just thinking from a home standpoint. Well, they were 2-2, right? And then they won X number of games in a row after.
Right.
They haven't lost in a very long time, and they haven't played a team. I think quite the quality of. It's not like they're playing Baltimore Ravens. It's not like you're playing like those,
I know, but I think they're playing at such an elite level on the offensive line. I think that's, to me, I don't care who the level of competition is per se. If the line blocks the way that they're blocking, and if they're going to be squared up the way they've been squared up. Now, the Chiefs' rush defense is better than the Commanders, but it's been gashed at times. Like, you can run on these guys. So if the run game goes, then the play action game goes. And that's why I think if I'm looking at like first touchdown, anytime touchdown, I love Devonta Smith to have a big game here, catching the football for this.
A lot of people love Dallas Goedert too, because
that too, 100%.
The sieve that is the Chiefs defense against tight ends
over the middle. Yep. Both.
So they played the Ravens December 1st. So I just want to correct myself there, because I remember they did actually play the Ravens there. But outside of that game, right?
Yeah.
They played the Panthers, they played the Steelers, they played, the Rams still in November before they kind of got hot. The Cowboys and Giants in their division weren't good. The Bengals defense was awful this year. They played the Browns. They played the Bucks, a decent team. The Saints are dreadful. Packers twice between the playoffs and regular season. The Falcons. Like, again, the tests. This is the biggest test this team has faced, I think, arguably all year. And I'm thinking
it's a time defending champ back in the third Super Bowl. I mean, obviously, it was going to be anyone's biggest test.
Yeah, but sometimes I think they benefited a little bit from the schedule from last year when they just kind of snuck in the back door of the playoffs, and last year the schedule was so tough on them and it really took its grind on them. And they got there on fumes to the playoffs and then were a first round out. I just think it'd be really interesting to see how this team handles if they are down by 6 at halftime. If the Eagles are down by 6 at halftime, what does that look like? I think Matt froze there, possibly there. So it's over was the last word. There he is. He's back. So your opinion was it's over.
I believe the game's over. I mean, I don't think that the Eagles, unless the Chiefs turn the football over in the second half. Like if I think there's going to be a pick thrown by Mahomes. If that pick happens in the second half, that could change the entire game. So, I mean, like everyone's saying that the Chiefs lost the turnover battle in the AFC title game. I don't think that they did, because the fourth down stop with Josh Allen is a turnover to me. And turnover on downs, it literally is a turnover. Yeah, so that's 1-1. The Eagles must win the turnover battle. They can't tie it. They must win the turnover battle. That has to be a huge priority. And if that turnover happens in the second half, then maybe they come back and they can win the game that way. But if they're down 6 to 8 points at the break, given what happens normally in the second half, like this is a different type of game. The halftime show is 40 minutes. It's a long break between first half and second halves. It's a lot of time to make adjustments. Defensive coordinators can come up with different schemes and coach up their team a lot between the two halves. So the Chiefs are very good in the second half. It's not imperative, but it almost is to me that the Eagles are leading at the break.
Yeah, certainly, as Addison's pointing out here in the chat too, turnover props. You bet everything and anything under the sun. And look, Tucker likes us hanging out together. More of this. He wants more of the two of us. Oh, and I can't disagree. I mean, it's a good time. I mean, this is what you're here for at Betting Pro. So make sure you hang out with us. If you got scoring predictions,
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because I asked about, because I didn't know, because this is supposed to be a football show. So I don't know if I was like, this might be the last show that we're doing for this year. I don't know for this show.
I don't. You know what? It's the last show we're doing for football this year, you and I. However, I mean, if there's any other time you want to talk baseball, you know where my head's at there. Can't do the basketball. My brain only holds so much.
I got basketball covered for you guys.
You got the basketball.
Terrell and I have got that at 5:30
you guys
Eastern
are crushing
tonight.
it. You guys are crushing it. But I think come NFL season next year, a little bit more Joey P and Perrault. Sure. I think you're going to see some more of that. And that's not a prediction, folks. That's a spoiler. So subscribe to the channel here at Betting Pros. Again, drop your comments, your predictions below. What's the score? Who's the MVP? We love to hear from all of you. And of course, subscribe to the Betting Pros podcast wherever you get your pods. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Matt Perrault, I'm Joey P. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with more BP Live.